Hello, this is Brad from Elliott Wave. How's it going? Here's the weekly update on Bitcoin. As always here on the channel, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, see what's happening and what could be happening using the Elliott Wave Theory. So before we get started with the analysis, I just want to take a moment to check on cryptocurrencies flows. So here, just want to take a look at what are usually referred to as whales, as you can see here, and those are transactions that are larger than $500,000. And I just wanted to take a moment to see here in the last 12 hours what whales have done. So as you can see here, almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin has been sent to exchanges, whereas $500 million has been sent from exchange. What does it mean? As also it says here, obviously when you send to an exchange, you do so usually in order to sell. So usually, obviously, when you have such large amounts of worth of cryptocurrencies, you don't hold them in an exchange, you just bring them there to sell them. So we can see how the potential, obviously we don't know yet if these have been converted into sales, but the potential selling and buying power is kind of in a ratio of 2-to-1. There's twice the amount of people with Bitcoin that are willing to sell rather than buy. So what does that tell us? Well, it is just data. So again, we don't know for sure if the transaction has been converted, so that amount of Bitcoin has been sold. However, it kind of tells us that whales are starting to sell, at least, if not all of their Bitcoin, they're starting to take some profits. Or what could happen, and that's what we're going to take a look in the chart, they're just cutting their losses, their break even. And again, just want to take a look at the fear and greed index, which is at 71. So it is in the green, it is into greed mode, and that usually is a great time to sell. So what do we know? We know that whales are bringing their Bitcoins into exchanges, so they're getting ready to sell. Therefore, if we do want to buy, we should be cautious, which is something we need to do every time we enter a trade, a position, or investment, but just be more cautious than ever. So that being said, let's get back to the count. Here, basically, just a follow-up of last week update, which if you haven't seen, feel free to take a look at it. It should be popping up here on the top right of your screen as I'm talking. So basically, we are assuming that this is a low in place at 15,000, and we're seeing upside from there with potential intermediate wave 1 and 2 in place. Now, last time in the past update, I talked about the potential of this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An invalidation level for discount stands at $41,400. We break that point, that number, discount is invalidated. So my preferred count so far is this. I've seen counts, and I don't remember if I talked about it in the previous video, where it says that we have wave 1, 2, might have been 3, 4, and 5, and then A, B, C. That is also possible. It's just a different way to look at it, but at the end of the day, whether you have your wave 1 here or here, you still have your wave 2 here, so you're still looking for that upside move. And also, and that I'm sure I've talked about in the previous update, there's a possibility this is a 3-wave move. We top here somewhere, we resume lower, which possible, but for the time being, I don't think there's any reason, at least I do not have any reason, any valid argument for being that bearish. I've been bullish for a long time just by looking at the count, and so far it has been playing out quite nicely. So if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to check out the channel where you'll find weekly updates on cryptocurrencies, US indices, and US stocks. And please consider subscribing if you don't want to miss out on any update, and leave a like if you did enjoy the video. What we're going to do today is we're going to focus on the short-term count and see what we can come up with. So my preferred idea is that we have just a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, and 3, 4, which has been playing out according to last week update. And also last week I talked about how this could be moved 1 degree lower, so with this one and so on, so that basically, and to be honest, I should do it because that's what I believe could happen. I'm just gonna bring it back for now, is that we could top into minor wave 1 here somewhere, potentially around 40,000, pull back, get back to either 30 even, so 30,000 even, or around here at 33,000, and then resume higher. So as you can see here, I have been forecasting, and let's go to the hourly chart. I've been forecasting a series of 3 and 4s, which you can check on the previous update. So far so good, which is always nice when it plays out. So personally, I have had longs from $36,500, which I closed 2/3 of them at 38. From where I expected a reaction, we got a reaction. Now I just opened this morning another long position at 38,200 roughly, and we'll see how it's going to play out. So if the count is correct, and so far it is proving correct, again, I believe everything should be moved 1 degree lower, which is, I think, what I'm going to do as soon as I stop the video. And we're just now looking for a series of 4, as you can see here. 4, 4, looking for a potential upside here onto 40,000. Now, the thing with getting to 30,000, so as you can see, ever since we hit 35,000, we started to just consolidate, move higher, consolidate, move higher. So the trend, that usually signifies that the trend is getting weaker. The strongest part of the trend was here, obviously, which is where we had a third of a third of a third of a third. And it makes, if you're thinking purely based on Elliott Wave guidelines, it makes sense. Strongest wave of a strongest wave of a strongest wave, and blah, blah, blah. So it makes sense Elliott Wave wise to see what we are seeing, so that after sharp and aggressive move to the upside, consolidate, move higher, consolidate, move higher, consolidate, and maybe we do start to move lower, which, if you think about it, why are we moving sideways? Get a little pump, moving sideways, get a little pump. People are selling, and we saw that with what the whales are doing, which is why I wanted to take a look at it and I wanted to show you. So everything kind of makes sense, which is always good. It's always confluence. Now, if we really want to focus on the short-term count, as you can see here, I'm looking for a 1 2 1 2. However, that would take us high, or at least higher than 40,000, from where I expect some sort of reaction. And that wouldn't compromise the count, but it would start to look a bit more aggressive than expected. So we need to take one step at a time and see what's happening. There's also a possibility that this wave 2 goes here, even though it wouldn't really look that good. Or else I'm also thinking, what if we've had something like this in a wave 4, and now we just do 1 2 3 4 5 and resume lower. I think that is also possible. And this does look like a 5-wave move to me, but could also see a 3-wave move. Could also see this being a 3-wave move, to be honest. So both scenarios are possible. Just obviously, as always, when you go into a lower degree analysis, it gets tricky because the amount of mistakes you can make increase. That's why I like to stick to higher degrees, to higher time frames, and that's why I just do one video of Bitcoin per week. But the main takeaways of today's video is that it looks like we're getting close to a top. We're getting close to some sort of a larger movement. And think about it. If whales are starting to sell here, which potentially, let's go into the weekly, or even the daily actually will do. So if we take a look at the daily, hide this, bring in some volume. Now, what do we want to see? Where is previous strong volume? And we've added here at 30,000, down here, which you can see it at what, 20? Yeah, 1820. We've added a 30. And then here, as you can see here, we have lots of volume here. And that corresponds roughly here at 40,000. So as you can see, once again, it's strong confluence. We're seeing people selling, which again, it's highly likely that they're selling because they are just breaking even. They didn't really make any money. And what they could do then, think about it, just rather than using technical analysis, let's just use logic. let's say you do want to be into Bitcoin and you're breaking even now, so you're selling, and then it moves lower, and then you can buy at a cheaper price than what you initially bought at with decreased risk. Wouldn't you do it? That kind of brings confidence to the account, where we are expecting a top soon in place and continuation higher. And that is going to be it for me today. Let me know in the comments what you think about the account. Let me know if you are indeed buying or selling Bitcoin next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.